Okay. Good morning. My name is Taylor, and I am the owner and founder of Red Rose Vodka. This gorgeous woman is my grandmother. She was a first-generation entrepreneur. She owned flea markets and bottle and recycling companies, creating a safe space for women to generate income. As for myself, I am a mother of two, an exceptional daughter, and I have a background in the legal industry. I bartended to get through school, thus learning that there was a need in this industry. That need is this statement. When I hear this statement, that means you want a sophisticated cocktail with minimal mixers. Red Rose is just that. I intentionally created a top shelf vodka with a corn base and a lower ABV. You can sip Red Rose straight, over ice, or you can mix it with something very simple. I've spent 9 years in this industry, and I have a cocktail catering company, Pour Mixology, where I put myself in front of my clientele on a consistent basis. After 9 years, I know exactly what these ladies want. These are sophisticated women who want sophisticated cocktails that they can share with people that they influence. Our performance started January of 2020. Then COVID hit. So I had to strategically pivot into online sales using social media as a crutch to make these sales happen through our distribution. My team consists of myself as the founder, Jennifer and Alexis of Sunshine Media Network. They assist with PR and media coaching. Morgan assists with content creation and all social media strategies. And I am currently the cohort queen. I've participated in almost every cohort Charlotte has to offer, but I've leaned into my mentors. I've had conversations, personally and in business, to know what I should do, how I should pivot, when I should do it, and what growth looks like for Red Rose. I've had conversations with companies who want to support minority women in this industry. Women only make up a 4% executive level in the spirits industry, and that is crazy to me, crazy. They are here to support us, but Red Rose is not yet at a place meeting that demand for these companies. Being recognized on the biggest radio show, The Breakfast Club, that video currently has over 3.8 million views. With our most recent interview on WBTV, where I had 5 minutes to craft cocktails on live streaming TV. Red Rose has earned her name on cocktail menus across the country. Our market growth, we started here in the US. Our current distributor is in Miami, Florida. We have secured 42 markets with online presence. So we ship to 42 different states here in the US. We've secured multiple accounts in Florida and have had multiple conversations with exporting companies to go outside of the US territories. I want to continue to have conversations with people who are strategic about capital in this industry. Pivoting in this industry is crucial for Red Rose's growth, but I don't want predatory equity. My name is Taylor, and I am Red Rose Vodka.
We'll go ahead and have you start since you are the regular here. So we'll have you take it first, and then we'll have yeah.
Well, since I'm the Beyonce of PitchBreakfast, there we go.
I was trying to.
Well, it's good to see you, Taylor. I my picture's on the slide deck. So we'll just lean into that. And I don't generally drink at.
I was gonna say, are we
Yeah.
At 8:58. So
Cheers.
cheers.
It's 7 in the morning. Yes, we're doing
Like the
it.
small sip and the big sip?
Yes.
Good morning.
That's really tasty. Okay, all right, yeah.
Okay.
That's really tasty.
We'll pour the rest.
We'll finish that in a
Oh,
bit.
we'll pour the rest of it. So a couple of things. And her and I have had a lot of conversations, so I'll keep it pitch breakfast format. Definitely love the problem solution, right? You spoke to why you got into the industry, and you spoke to the need, but definitely you want to focus in on, talk about how you plan to get your bottles out. Talk really about, what's your plan if you're in 42 states? How do you get, or you're shipping to 42 states? You really want to talk about how you plan to spread the word in those states. So, you create your own kind of viral marketing in those states, and how do you keep that going over and over and over again? So that's something I would have liked to have seen in this presentation. And then how do you keep the viralness, we'll call it, of something like a breakfast club going as you continue to roll forward? What's your plan for that?
The biggest leverage that I've used is social media. Lots of video content, lots of hashtags, lots of time waking up at 4 in the morning to be the first notification to whomever. Also, my team has been played a major part in the growth and the success of Red Rose. My mentors put me in places where I probably couldn't go myself. So it's just constantly Red Rose Vodka, Red Rose. It's just a constant know-it-all, meeting the right people, being very strategic about those conversations, and having those relationships with the right people so that we continue to be in the right rooms.
And then I would say one more question maybe to speak to the audience. What's your path to scaling? So where are you today? You talked about 1,200 bottles sold. How do you get to 5,000 or 10,000 or 150,000 bottles? What's your path towards that?
Okay, so right now we are currently in production for 2,300 bottles. They were supposed to be done last week. I got a call yesterday. I said, hey friend, what's going on? So there are some things going on the back end that they are working on, but the bottle should be here very soon. With the 2,300-ish bottles, our plan is to put those in Florida and Georgia. We have a secured accounts in both states. And then from there, that capital, raising additional funds to triple that amount, we want to grow into North Carolina ABC. I've talked to Kiva. I've had the conversations. Even in Texas, I was just in Texas having a conversation in Dallas and Austin. I am traveling. I am putting myself out there consistently. I'm going to New York. I'm going to New Jersey. I'm participating in, I was just in New Orleans at a cocktail event for a whole week where there was free liquor all week. So I am constantly finding the places to be, who to talk to, and that's how we're going to continue our growth pattern.
Yeah, I would say highlight that as much as you can in there. That's awesome that you're doing all of those things, and so make that part of the story, because I think you're further along than the pitch gives you credit for.
Yeah.
And so I actually thought that as you started breaking towards the team and your mentors, they're great, that's awesome. That's not the story. You've actually gotten a lot further than that, and I think that's part of what you should talk about, and kind of just bring up a little bit in the presentation, keep the momentum rolling, and then finish with, and we've got this rockstar team, this rockstar mentoring group who's going to take that on. Yeah, I felt like one of the things I was interested in, and maybe this is just because I don't know the industry as well, but how you make something top shelf. I think the fact that you've done the viral marketing, or you're going to all these various events and you're pitching it as top shelf. Talking about that a little bit more, and maybe that'll be my question back to you is, how do you make something top shelf?
So Red Rose is a corn-based vodka. It's light. Most vodkas are potatoes, grapes. Grapes are usually wine before they turn it into a vodka. Corn-based gives it a very light palate. But then you have the strawberry lemon that gives you the flavor. So you can sip it straight over ice or something very simple in a classic mixer.
Got it. And so that, because it's not just straight vodka, that kind of makes it top shelf. Okay, got it. So then how, and she's going to ask this, like, how do you get into distribution? Like, I think getting into that in the presentation would be really good.
How do you get into distribution? Showing up. I sent a lot of samples out. I made a lot of phone calls, got a lot of voicemails, and then one thing about me is I will pull up. I will show my face. Going in there and showing them who I am. I've had to, in the beginning, I was so focused on the product, I had to remember who I was. People love me for my personality, but then they love me because I have liquor. So going into these places, having these conversations, doing the sampling, showing them that it's an actually an actual great product. They love the product. Anyone who tries the product loves the product. So just consistently pulling up on these people and saying, hey, I am here, I am serious, and I'm very strategic on the growth of Red Rose.
This is something a little bit different, but your personality is awesome. And it felt a little bit more robotic going through the pitch. Like the more that you get into the things that you're really passionate about and like you showing up and talking about it, even if there's like a story in there of, hey, I showed up and did this and these people reacted in that way, or even starting with, hey, we went on, this talk show or whatever, and they loved it so much. There's things like that, I think, that really bring out your personality that you should try to highlight, because you do rock, and if you do show up, I feel like people are going to feel that.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Yeah.
I would just say, and this is to all entrepreneurs and future pitchers, don't shy away from the quantitative parts of your business, though. You're in business. You want, when we talk about predatory equity, knowing the numbers, and the better you know your numbers, the more you can shy away from really shitty deals. Sorry, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. But
we've been drinking.
We can use that. But you want to make sure that you're highlighting the numbers, right? Mm-hmm. So if we're talking going from 1,200 bottles to 2,300 bottles to 4,800 bottles to 52, you're showing, growing business. You're showing increased sales. You're showing good margins. You're showing greater distribution. The more you can be quantitative, you're showing a business. You're also showing less reliance on maybe equity or venture capital or other mechanisms, and you're showing I generate revenue. And revenue is a way of growing business. And that, at the end of the day, is your strongest selling point, no matter what type of funder you're talking to. So remember that you always want to have some numbers in your pitch deck. So the story at the end of the day, when I'm looking at a pitch deck, is always going to be, what are the numbers? So and I'm famous for this. I flip past every single slide except for the ones with the numbers on it. Okay. So I can get a flavor of an entire business by just looking at the numbers. You want to make sure that it's there.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to ask you to expand a little bit, because that's a question I always get. The numbers. So when you say you want numbers, what looks good? Like how far out do you go? What exactly is a good slide? And a good conversation starter?
Well, and I'll speak from my perspective, because I think everybody's different. I want to know, what have you done? So traction is something that gets thrown around a lot. What have you done? So I think you had a bullet point that said we've sold 1,200 bottles since 2020. That's a great traction number. It would have been great. You showed us a map of 40. That's a great map, but it would have been great to just see 42 states, right? Because that's a number I want to see. That's traction. How far out do I go? We're projecting 2,300 bottles to be sold in, 2022? Yeah. That's another number. That's this year. That's currency. Now, one more year out, you can project that out reasonably. Once we get past, for me, 3 years, I'm thinking you're really guessing. If you're going out 5 years, that's a complete crystal ball, and 10 years is you're BSing everybody. So I would say 1 to 3 years is probably safe, with most people probably discounting anything beyond 3 years when you're talking about forecasting your revenue. But you want to show that you have some idea of where you could go, because that tells me you're planning for something. So where have you been? What's happening this year? What's going on year one, the next year, the second year, Third year is probably a bit of a stretch. You know, if you hit it dead on, then I'm probably thinking you're fudging a little bit. But ultimately, that's what I would be looking for. And then in a company this early, you don't really have to talk about exits or exit opportunity. That's going to be something for somebody in his shoes probably, but not something that I would look for in this kind of a pitch.
I completely agree. I think keep it as near term as possible because we all know that it's just guesswork, right? Everybody will have, and I apologize, the future pitchers, right? If you come up here with a long up and to the right graph that goes out 10 years or so, but she's right, we discount them immediately. The biggest thing is, and this is part of what I was saying before, you have done a lot to get to this point. You have real traction. Highlight the traction as much as possible. Those are the numbers that we're looking for. I love the idea of, it's this many states, it's this many, countries, or this many stores, or whatever it is, or this many bottles that we've sold. That type of thing, and repeating that message over and over and over again. Even if you say, hey, look, we're doubling production from last year or from 2 years ago, and I want to double it again in the following year. That's a very realistic thing that we can say, that's, we always talk about this idea of realistically ambitious. Mm-hmm. Like, you're still being ambitious. You're not like trying to be super conservative, but mm-hmm. you are showing that, hey, this thing is going to continue. Mm-hmm. And within that too, that leads directly into your ask and what you're looking for from everybody. It's, hey, in order for me to double, this is what I need. That's what I'm looking for. Yep. I will say, even saying things in a pitch of like, I'm not looking for predatory equity. I don't consider myself a predatory equity person, or a predator. I don't know what the right way is to put that.
You are a dinosaur.
Yeah, I guess we are a dinosaur. So in a certain way, like, yeah, right. Yeah, we have like this whole thing. But yeah, with that being said, no investor thinks of themselves that way. So you may turn off somebody that isn't actually a predator, that might be like just worried that you don't really want their advice, or you're not really looking for that. But with that being said, every pitch should be customized to your audience, right? So if your audience is a group of people that you're not looking for investment from, you might just be looking for, hey, I want a partnership, or does anybody know any production facilities that might be able to help me double my production, or whatever that might be. I would always recommend that. Like, your pitch doesn't have to be the same every time you go out.
Right.
Can I just add one little note? If another way of saying I don't want predatory terms, you could say ideal terms for us look like
Totally
this. Agreed. That way, somebody who doesn't want those terms or are looking for more aggressive terms may not reach out to you, and then that could act as a protective shell for you, if that's something you don't want people to approach.
Totally agreed. Yeah.
Great. Let's give it up for Taylor. Clicker.